Through the years, we visited several schools in Himachal Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and near Jaipur, near Udaipur, and the more I got into it, the more I was impressed with the objectives and with what Ekal is doing for India. It has made a tremendous difference in the rural India, which is where Ekal is operating, in the rural and tribal sections. And the awareness of education, preventive health care, a better, happier, prosperous, in true sense, way of life. I think it has provided that. So the objective is being fulfilled. It's something that will really promote the uplift of Indian villages, particularly the tribal and rural villages, the way it should. Because education is one thing, but the overall integrated development of rural India will become possible only if more and more of these integrated centers, the women empowerment happens. We had these little girls doing the folk dance.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or you ask a young kid, "Mere ko pahada sunao tum." You know, they just blurted out. It was unbelievable. So that obviously it's making a difference, and doing the yoga and the exercises, very, and their whole welcoming. That is true Indian Bharatiya cultural way of behaving, and it adds to the peaceful existence in the society, which is what we need. Now we are used to living in America, and it has given me an opportunity. And in fact, we started with Ekal because we were looking for a way to give back what we have taken. I mean, India is what gave me education, knowledge, and everything, and then you go away. So this was a good way.
Wasn't it difficult to manage time and then to give equal time to everything that you have? Was it difficult for time management was difficult or not?
It is, but where there is a will, there is a way. So we were impressed with this cause.
In this time, intermittent fasting is getting too much trending. So is it healthy or is it not, according to you?
I personally don't think it's healthy. It's not unhealthy, let's put it this way. But whether it is healthy, I really don't. As an endocrinologist, I don't really think it's healthy. I think first and foremost is, of course, a well-balanced, healthy diet. Second is, optimal exercise. And I think the third is regular follow-up with physicians. Because I think lot of us kind of sit back and say, I'm fine, I feel good, I don't have any symptoms, so I don't need to see a doctor. So, regular annual checkups which can diagnose these things earlier than later.
Hello and welcome to our very special show, Spotlight. I am Soumya Agrawal and you're watching Ekal Bharat. As we promised you earlier, we'll bring you such personalities who is working for the betterment of our nation. So today I have with me Mr. Rakesh Shreedhar and Mrs. Kamini Shreedhar. Sir and ma'am, would you like to introduce yourself to our viewers before we start the conversation?
I'm Rakesh Shreedhar. I live in New York, originally from Himachal Pradesh in India, or Bharat. But we've lived in New York for the past about 42 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
I am a retired surgeon, general and laparoscopic surgeon. I retired about 3 years ago after practicing for about 35 years.
Oh wow. And ma'am?
Yeah, so my name is Kamini Shreedhar, and I was actually born in New Delhi.
Okay.
But I moved when I was 13, and before I was in South Africa, Then we went to USA and basically been married for about 30, almost 39 years and living in New York. And I do endocrinology, but I also retired about 2 years ago.
So, how did you guys meet? You are born in New Delhi, you lived in Himachal. So, how did you guys meet?
So I would say she was doing her residency in internal medicine. I was doing my residency in surgery, and we met at a common place. And we are from the same part of India. She is originally from Haryana. I'm from Himachal Pradesh. So we were looking for somebody similar, and it happened.
Okay. So then you got married and you stayed in India? Or?
We got married in New York, in DC.
Actually, Washington, D.C.
Washington D.C. and then we got married again in Dharamshala. In
Oh
India.
wow,
Yeah.
that's nice. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So since like you both have a career in medical field, so how did you come to know about Ekal? Since you have been associated with Ekal, how did you come to know about Ekal?
Shyamji Gupt visited me in New York because I was involved with the HSS at that time, and he expressed a desire that we should open a chapter of Ekal in New York. Ekal was in the beginning phases then, and I was very impressed with his disposition and explanation of the objectives of Ekal Vidyalaya. And we said, okay, we will establish a chapter. So the first meeting was actually held in our basement in New York.
Okay.
And we slowly expanded, and now we have 4 chapters in New York, and we are supporting a large number of Ekal Vidyalaya in India.
So both of you joined together?
I think
yes.
he was more motivated than I was. Mainly because I think I was busy working, and of course also at the same time being a mother. So, but as usual, you know, the wife has to follow.
That's right. You said that you were busy working and you have a family. So you are a doctor, you have a family, and then you have joined social service. So wasn't it difficult to manage time and then like to see give equal time to everything that you have? Was it difficult for like time management was difficult or not?
It is, but where there is a will, there is a way. You know. So we were impressed with this cause, and then through the years we visited several schools in Himachal Pradesh, in Rajasthan, and near Jaipur, near Udaipur, and the more I got into it, the more I was impressed with the objectives and with what Ekal is doing for India.
So you said that Shyam sir visited you in the basement of your house. So you have seen the forming of Ekal, right? So the objective when it started versus the objective it has now, the way it has grown. Do you see the difference? Like what are the noticeable difference and anything about that?
In India itself, I hear, I do not know. In fact, we only visit as frequently as we can. But it has made a tremendous difference in the rural India, which is where Ekal is operating, in the rural and tribal sections. And the awareness of education, preventive health care, and generally a better, happier, prosperous, in true sense, way of life. I think it has provided that. So the objective is being fulfilled, and it has grown to a strength of almost 100,000 schools.
So what does the USA chapter does exactly, Ekal USA chapter?
The Ekal USA chapter supports, we have several zones and of course several chapters, and we have these annual conferences whereby we make decisions I was on the board for 3 years. I was the chairman of the board of the national board in 2016, I think, and we had the annual function there. So likewise, the functions are held every year. In addition to our the schools, of course, there are the integrated village development and the skilled training centers that are coming up, and our objective of the recent visit is also to establish a skill training center in where I come from, in Himachal Pradesh.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was Sir's role. What is your role in this organization?
Over the years, I think I kind of got more involved, and I think my main role has been basically every year, like we hold like an Ekal charity function, and we do as part of the New York chapter, and so I get involved with that, with how we are going to organize the whole function, and often my main role in that even is about what meals we should serve as part of that function that day.
Okay.
That's been my main role. But otherwise, I think I've also visited all the Ekal schools along with him, and that's inspired me all along. So it makes me kind of to continue the work that Ekal is doing.
So you said that you recently visited the Himachal center that opened up, right? So you might have heard a lot of things about center, like how it works, what all trainings have been given. So did the thing you heard match the exact thing you saw in the centers in the Himachal?
The Himachal Center is being started, and what we saw earlier today is the functioning of the center in Gujarat, centers in Gujarat, and it's exactly what I heard in New York as well, that these are managed very efficiently, and it's something that will really promote the uplift of Indian villages, particularly the tribal and rural villages, the way it should, because education is one thing, but the overall integrated development of rural India will become possible only if more and more of these integrated centers of women empowerment happens at more and more locations.
So how do you make sure, like how's the transparency if you are back in New York and you have to know about what's going around here in India, in the rural part? So what is the transparency level? How do you communicate?
We get a follow-up letters about the number of schools we are supporting, where those schools are, and we've been very satisfied with the response. I have been. You know, nothing is 100%, of course, but all the years I started with supporting a small number of schools, but now I'm supporting about 50 schools. We are supporting about 50 schools, and we get a follow-up of which schools, which state are these schools, and what is happening there. And sometimes we get letters from children thanking us, and
so that must feel good, no? That they are developing, it's for their betterment, and then you are helping them.
And you feel encouraged that I'm
Right.
doing something that makes a difference, that has made a difference, right?
So how does it makes you feel when you have visited the villages, right?
Yeah.
And you have met the people.
Yes.
So how does it feel? Because I'm sure it might be warm feeling.
Yeah.
So how does it feel?
They are incredible. I mean, what they have learned. I have interviewed these children as to their arithmetic and language skills, and the yoga they do, and the little folk songs they sing. You know, it's very encouraging.
The
and
way they
that's
welcome
India.
you.
Yes,
That's heartwarming.
very heartwarming.
So is there any interesting stories about like visiting the village? Is there anything interesting you'd like to share with us?
Well, we had these little girls doing the folk dance.
Yes, yes, yes.
Or you ask a young kid, "Kabhi mere ko pahada sunao tum." They just blurted out. It was unbelievable. So that obviously it's making a difference, and doing the yoga and the exercises, very, very, and their whole welcoming. That is true Indian Bharatiya cultural way of behaving, and it adds to the peaceful existence in the society, which is what we need. There's a lot of unrest otherwise going on across the world, as you know. So we need this, not only for educational, but for overall betterment of human existence.
So both of you belong from a medical profession, and it's back in abroad. So can you tell me what differences do you see between the medical profession in India and in abroad?
Both countries have bright physicians. The physician workforce is tremendous. The one big difference is the spontaneity and the speed with which the medical help is available to the citizens. For example, if you need surgery or if you need an appointment with a physician, it's much more expeditious in the US. And of course it's more expensive, but the treatments are given much more quickly. I think that's one difference I see.
Anything?
I think he hit this. Main thing is the quickness. Just to give you a small example, I do endocrinology. So if there is a patient, say for example, their blood sugar is say 1,000, which is very, very abnormal. Even if I'm in the office seeing a patient, that's an emergency. So you actually leave your office and go directly to the hospital, take care of that patient, and then you come back and continue your office. So even if you have to cancel off all your office hour patients, you just got to, if it's an emergency, you just got to go there, right there and then. So I think that plays a big role in the outcome of the patient eventually. And I think the other part of this, I think, which we were touching earlier, was the medical malpractice, so to speak, is obviously more diligent there. So you have to be very, very careful and do everything the right way.
Right.
That is, I think, one of the main reasons.
So there have a lot of medicines comes from the foreign country, from US, but sometimes if US has launched a medicine, it comes to India, but US bans it, and then it is still continuing in India. So what is the reason behind that? What do you think is the reason behind that? Because if USA has banned it, there might be some reason for banning it, right?
The FDA, the federal, organization that regulates the distribution of or approval of drugs in different phases in the United States, is fairly strict. So if something gets banned in the US, number one, it's enforced quickly. Number two, if it's not enforced, there's a fear of litigation. Americans are a fairly litigious society, so if something goes wrong, they're going to blame somebody. They're always looking to blame somebody, and if you're to blame, then you're done. See, so that fear, in addition to following the rules and regulations, these are the factors that'll determine the banning of various substances or drugs in the US as compared to maybe there's a little, more lackadaisical attitude. I hate to say that because I don't really know the process here, but that could be one of the reasons. Yeah.
I think one of the other reasons is that FDA is very strict, and if a drug has been approved, but as they go along using it, and they find certain side effects, which they see in a fair number of patients, they're very quick to take that drug back and ban it. I don't know what the process is here. or how strictly all this is enforced.
So the lifestyle is changing, everything is being evolved now. So you see that even if the lifestyle is changing, we are adopting unhealthy lifestyle, not sleeping on time, eating junk food, fast food. So that is affecting our health a lot, right? And since you are a medical professional, so is there anything you'd like to say about how unhealthy lifestyle can affect our body for a long term? Like if you think about future, the unhealthy lifestyle can be very much risky for our body. So anything about that?
One of the things that's a disadvantage in the United States is the obesity.
Right.
Obesity is a huge issue. 33% of Americans are overweight. Now that's over 100 million people, you know, these are overweight. I don't see that in India. I don't see that in Europe. I think that's a disease, that's an American disease. I call it a disease. And we have very large centers managing obese patients, myself included. You know, the average weight of an American is much more. So that's talking about lifestyle. They work very hard, but this is one of the side effects. And they eat junk food. Indian food is very balanced. The original Indian food, there is nothing to match dal, roti and sabzi, you know, and it's very well balanced diet. Talk about, I don't say it's a strict vegetarianism, but vegetarian food is also healthier, with a little addition here and there from a medical point of view. So these lifestyles and of course activity, Americans are very active, there is no doubt about it. But then there is yoga in India. Yoga is there in America too, but not quite. We are the originators. Hindus are the originators of yogic way of life, and it's in our blood, if you like. And it should develop more. I think people have done our Prime Minister has done a tremendous job at that. We have, in fact, in the last International Yoga Day, we had the opportunity to do yoga with him in New York, in the United Nations.
In the United Nations.
There were 4,000 people representing 135 countries. On June 21st, 2023. Yeah.
So what are the health problems that might come along with this? I mean, heart diseases or any other health problems that might come along with this unhealthy lifestyle or being overweight?
You just said it, heart disease. I think you can elaborate more on that.
So I think unhealthy lifestyle means basically, you know, you're overweight, and you're eating all the wrong food. So that one is diabetes.
Right.
And then high blood pressure, heart disease with high cholesterol, because you're eating all this, you know, super saturated fatty foods. So there's obviously an increased incidence of all these diseases.
Right. And you are an endocrine specialist, so I think the problems are increasing now, because even if you see a small kid, he or she is suffering from diabetes, or even small kids or people like my age or even adult, they have like heart diseases. So I think that's a big problem now. So is there any tips you would like to give them, because you know, thyroid is also a big problem now, hyperthyroidism. So any tips you would like to give them so that they can, you know, control that?
I think first and foremost is, of course, a well-balanced healthy diet. Second is, you know, optimal exercise. And I think the third is regular follow-up with physicians, because I think lot of us kind of sit back and say, I'm fine, I feel good, I don't have any symptoms, so I don't need to see a doctor. So, you know, regular annual checkups which can diagnose these things earlier than later, and so, you know, they can get treated appropriately.
But I think the mentality has been said that if I don't have any problem, that is visible.
Right.
So I won't go to the doctor. So I think that's not a good mentality.
Yes.
But people don't seem to change it. So can you focus on this point and explain that why visiting a doctor or getting health checkup regularly is important.
Yeah, a lot of these, whether it's high blood pressure or diabetes or high cholesterol, you may not necessarily get symptoms. You're not waiting to feel unwell. By the time you feel unwell, it's already foregone. So, annual checkups or routine visits, if you get your blood work, you will know if you have high blood sugar or high cholesterol. They'll check your blood pressure, whether it's right or is it abnormally high. So all these can diagnose these things earlier, and that would help. Yeah, that would help.
It's early diagnosis.
Yeah.
Early diagnosis leads to better management. A lot of the times, all you need is a little dietary modifications or one pill rather than taking 10 pills, and control the blood pressure rather than to try to do it when you've already developed kidney failure, that sort of thing.
Prevention is better
Prevention.
than cure.
Prevention, early diagnosis.
That's right. So you just mentioned about diet, and I think now in this time, intermittent fasting is like getting too much trending. So is it healthy or is it not according to you?
I personally don't think it's healthy. It's not unhealthy, let's put it this way. But whether it is healthy, I really don't. As an endocrinologist, I don't really think it's healthy, because you're really fasting for a long period of time. In fact, we tell our diabetics that the best way to eat is small, frequent meals, but they have to be well balanced. So the right amount of carbs, the right amount of protein, and we also need fats, but the right amount of fats. So I think that is a better diet than this intermittent fasting. Even back in the US, it's being practiced somewhat, but it's not considered the best diet.
So one more question that is related to this, youths like me or someone who's younger than me, if they are like overweight or if someone just calls them fat, so they just stops eating, like they don't eat at all, they'll just take a meal, only one meal a day. So I don't think that's healthy either. So anything you'd like to say them, as you both are doctors, so anything you'd like to say them, because youth, they get influenced very easily. So anything for that? So
I think eating small, regular meals is probably the best, and they should be encouraged. There is nothing to be, obesity is to be treated as a disease, not as a stigma.
right.
It's not up to, you see, a lot of people constitutionally are big or fat, and they can't help it. So they have to regulate, have to have a balance between their eating and exercise in order to maintain a weight, regulate their weight. And I think that fact has to be brought home to people rather than a stigma that you're fat and you're no good. No, that's not good, because being fat sometimes is not within your hands.
Right.
Not within your hands. A lot of people,
It can be genetics.
it depends on your metabolism. I think you would agree.
Metabolism, some people have a slower metabolism, so that can affect them. But I think just because somebody tells them that they're fat, it doesn't mean that you're going to start starving now and lose weight quickly. That's not the answer, because that does not last long.
And it's not to be treated as a stigma.
Yeah. I think it's better, yes, if somebody tells you you're fat or overweight, I think it's good that you realize it or you listen to that, and then it should be a, kind of an organized approach, that you're going to lose weight slowly, change your diet, cut back fats, add more exercise, add more healthy grains and healthy vegetables, but not just have one meal. That's not the answer.
You have been to villages, so how are the health facilities in villages? Because earlier in India, rural areas, the health facilities weren't great. So how are the health facilities there now, since you have visited the villages?
I think the clinics, for example, in 1975, I was in a small village as a physician, and it just had one room. I visited that place now. It's a whole clinic with about 6 rooms. The general awareness has increased of health, and I think Arogya Yojana, Ekal Vidyalaya Movement, and even government has made things easier and better access to medical facilities and have provided more medical facilities. Where there was one district hospital, now there is a hospital, there is a medical college, and there is a lot more opportunity there. There is still room for development, a lot of room. However, things have gotten better, there is no doubt about it.
But Ekal works in villages that is not even covered by government, that is not even seen by the government, right? And passing them knowledge or giving them knowledge about this basic health facilities might be tough. So how do you think that can improve in the future?
Coordination between the Arogya Yojana and the Ekal Vidyalaya general education is very important. Preventive health care has a big role to play here. It is the general ignorance amongst individuals about the basics of health that is needed to improve, and it's happening.
So while we are at it, you have been staying in abroad for a very long time. You said around 45 years, right? And for how long have you stayed in India?
I was in India for 24 years.
Wow. So which lifestyle do you prefer more? Is it the foreign lifestyle or is it the Indian lifestyle?
It's, yeah, you know, you accept the lifestyle that is given to you. That's my way of looking at it. Now we are used to living in America, and it has given me an opportunity. And in fact, we started with Ekal because we were looking for a way to give back what we have taken. I mean, India is what gave me education, knowledge, and everything. And then you go away. So this was a good way. What do I prefer? I think I don't have a choice anymore. Because all my colleagues have retired.
Okay.
All my friends are there. My family, half my family is here, so we'll keep visiting them. You know, the whole world is one village now. So the whole, and if you really consider Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam objective, then life is, you know, between New York and Delhi, they used to be always stop over in Europe, not anymore. We just sit in the plane and you're here.
Yeah.
So it's not that hard, it's not that hard. But the important thing is to maintain this link. And in my heart, I am an Indian, I'm a Hindu, I'll always be that, that's it.
Ma'am, what about you?
See, I was very young when I left India, but we've been coming back all along, especially I think after we got married. We wanted to bring our children back so that they could somehow kind of assimilate with our roots. And it's always been wonderful when we came to India, and our children enjoy it every time. So, but since we've been there for so long, that's become our home.
Right.
But this is a home away from home as well.
You know, there are several things to be learned here. The hospitality, as it is world known, is unbelievable. And our kids feel that as they come. And of course we feel it all the time. So that atitheya, as they call it, hospitality, is so wonderful here. Anybody who comes here, all our friends, colleagues that have visited, they just mention that. It's a great thing, something to be learned.
So do you celebrate festivals?
All the
Back home.
festivals.
All the festivals.
Yeah.
So is it only your family or do you have like a community in India?
No, we have for example, we have Indian Cultural Society in our area, and that is in several areas, any area that has reasonable Indian population. And we celebrate Diwali, we celebrate Dashera, we celebrate Holi, we celebrate Lodi, we celebrate Navratri.
Oh wow,
So
all
the
festivals.
yes.
Yeah. And that has become even more important there because that's the one way we stay connected in our roots and amongst ourselves.
Yeah, so I think in our area we have about maybe now more than 300 families.
Oh, wow.
There may be more now. And so there's an Indian Cultural Society, and so all the families get linked through that to celebrate all the festivals.
So sir and ma'am, since like youths nowadays, they don't I mean, even if they are staying in India, they don't get too much attached to their roots. They think that it's too much boring to be, following the Indian culture. But then you are staying in abroad, and then you're still, making your kids stay connected to the roots. So, do you think that the mindset that youth have now is not appropriate, and do you think that can change? Do you have any opinion about
Can you
that?
rephrase that? Do we know?
So she's wondering, we are coming here, right? And
Oh, they're
will our
working.
children, will they kind of continue
Yeah.
to do what we are doing?
Not at that level. Not at that level. However, we have family in India. We have families in India, and their children are very close. They are always on the internet or texting, or they have groups whereby they connect. If there is a wedding, if there is for example, somebody's birthday, the festivals, will wish Happy Diwali and that's all. So you stay connected. And at least for a couple of generations, I see that.
Because I think it is necessary to stay connected to the
Yeah.
roots.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, we are hoping that our children will continue. In fact, I think our son, who is 26, he's now going back to school, wants to do his MBA. But one of the things he said, which we were very happy to hear, that he lives in New York City, Manhattan, so he wants to open up a little small chapter in that area for Ekal.
Oh wow, that's nice. This was the couple who is staying connected to Indian roots even after staying miles away from India. Stay tuned with us and we'll bring you more such personalities in our next episode. Till then, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Take care. Thank you.